We're Maren and Angela, and this is Homeschool Unrefined. We created this podcast to change the conversation about homeschool. This is a place where we encourage each other to do less, be ourselves, embrace natural learning, and keep homeschool simple, real, and fun. We are longtime friends, Minnesotans, and practiced homeschool parents with our master's degree in education. We are an inclusive and non-sectarian podcasting community. We believe Black Lives Matter and affirm LGBTQ plus families. We hope this is a place where we can all learn and grow together.
This is episode 157, Making Mealtime Easier. Hi, Maren.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Good.
Yeah.
You are up for an aha moment. I'm so excited to hear.
Okay. Well, I hope, I don't know if you're going to relate because honestly, like this is coming from my best introverted self. My aha moment is. And, I know like your main objective is to have fun all the time, but, me as an introvert.
I would say all the time.
Okay.
I do like to have fun though.
You like to have fun. As an introvert, I always would rather, my first thought is I'd rather stay home. Mm-hmm. I'd rather like keep doing the thing that I had planned.
Sure.
I'd rather get to bed early. I'd rather do my routines.
Right.
But the thing that I keep learning over and over again is fun is always worth the effort.
Oh, yes.
And it is a little bit more effort for me. It is effort for me to say yes to fun. Mm-hmm. And then I'm usually glad I did. And this happens so often. And it can be, I have like endless examples, but from like, hey, does anybody want to play a game tonight? Somebody will ask that in my family. And
that's awesome.
I love games. I love board games. I do. I really love them. But in the moment, am like, yeah, like I was going to take a bath and then get to bed early and read. Or, that is in my mind, so I'm like, I don't know if I really want to. And then if other people don't really want to, I'm like, yeah, it's probably better that we don't. But if I like rally, I'm always so happy that we did. And I'm so happy to have had fun with, my family or friends or whoever.
Yeah.
Last summer we were at our cabin and we were like getting ready to go home. Mm-hmm. Kind of. It was a Sunday. We were going to go home, but then two people in our family, the two people who are extroverts, are like, "Hey, should we go for a 4-wheeler ride like through the woods?" And then the other three of us were like, I don't know. Like it'd be nice to get home early and
sure.
We'd be getting dirty and there's probably bugs. And but then like we rallied and all 5 of us had the best time. And I just thought like, I'm always reminded, Angela, do the fun thing because you will be glad that you did. Like, who cares if you get home an hour later than you thought you were going to get home?
Right.
Like, it's fine.
Way to go. I think that's so great. I have a couple thoughts on that because, I do naturally like want to do those things. In fact, I'm usually the one in the evening going, who wants to play a board game? And no, everybody's like, nah. I mean, even my extroverts are like, nah. A lot of times they're like done with me. But I do tend to bypass fun too, actually, a lot. And I think that's just because of society. I mean, like just how I grew up and how, our culture has taught us like get the things done. Get the things done first. And
don't you have dishes to do or like stuff like that?
And fun is a side, like maybe a reward or like an unnecessary thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to be reminded that like, so for us people who, fun is kind of like innate in us, we want to do all the fun things. And then we try to suppress it. It's good to remember you don't have to suppress it all the time. You don't have to just not have fun all the time.
No.
So it's a good reminder for all of us, Angela. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in more talk about personalities and fun and how that relates to self-care, you can come to Patreon where we have extra episodes and a community for just $5 a month. You can go to patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined.
All right. We are going to dive into our topic, making mealtime easier. And we really just thought this was a good time to talk about something kind of practical. But also we have so many thoughts around it they're not necessarily practical, but we feel like we'll help you through the practicalness of it.
Yeah. So I don't think we've ever done a mealtime episode.
Wow.
In all of our years, but you're right. It's time because we all need to make things easier. We're all in a stressful season, just all of us.
Yes.
And even if we weren't, even if you're not, it is okay to make mealtime easier. You don't need to be, like having gourmet recipes every night.
Yeah, exactly. But going back to the stressful time, and I think it's really easy for us to kind of think, well, we're in a pandemic. We might be home all the time or more often right now. I should, the things that I'm doing at home should be like a little more elaborate. I should be doing more. I should be getting better at this or something. And I just want to give you the message that no, that is not the case. You don't have to be working really hard at these things if this is not your favorite thing to do, or if it's just not working for you right now. It's okay that it's not. Yeah. You are working on so many other things. It doesn't have to look beautiful or perfect right now.
For sure. It's kind of like our homeschool message.
Exactly.
Which is concentrate on what you're good at. It's okay if you take stuff off your plate. Yep. It's okay if it doesn't look perfect. You're still rocking what you're doing and doing a good job. So give yourself credit for that. Exactly. So we just wanted to talk about a few ways that we, throughout our years, have made mealtime easier for ourselves. And one thing that is true for Maren and I both, but probably for all of you listening, is like your meal stuff changes. It's not like you're always doing the same thing and sticking with it. Right.
Just like homeschool too. I think, as soon as you start to think, well, this is what we do now as homeschoolers, this is our groove. We're getting into this groove. It changes. And I think that's very similar to meal time.
Yes, for sure. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about how personally we're making mealtime easier right now. And then we're going to hear from some of our patrons and what they're doing to make mealtime easier for them. And so hopefully, like, no matter your stage of life or season that you're in, you can get some good ideas from all the different people.
Yeah. Right. So why don't we start with things that we've done in the past that have really helped?
Yeah. Okay. I'll start. Yeah, so when my kids were younger, and I was a new parent, I really didn't know how to cook.
I didn't grow up learning how to cook. either. I knew how to make some basic things, but I wasn't even really making those.
Yeah. So I did the 6 o'clock scramble. I think they're still around.
Oh, really?
It is, I should have looked that up ahead of time. But basically what they do is they send you like a week's worth of recipes, and then they send you, you can make them into a grocery list, and you take it to the grocery store, and you just basically follow the recipes for the week. The recipes are simple. They're like under 30 minutes. They're generally stuff that kids like and adults like. They're pretty basic. But I learned a lot of good cooking techniques through doing that. Yeah. I learned how to cook, basically. 6 o'clock scramble taught me how to cook. So that really worked.
I want to say the same thing. I agree. You told me.
Did you do it?
You told me about the 6 o'clock scramble, and I desperately signed up. And printed out the meal plan every week, put it in a 3-ring binder. And that was my cookbook.
Wow.
And then I would go back and use those recipes over and over again, like our favorites.
Yeah.
And because you're right, they were simple enough to do. I think it even came with, a grocery list, which was very helpful. And I know a lot of meal prep places do that now, but oh my gosh, it taught me lots of basics.
Yeah. And what that did for me was it took out one thing. It made one thing easier, which was deciding what you were going to cook and deciding what's on your grocery list. And so, I still had to do the cooking. Still had to make this meal, but the deciding and figuring out what you were going to do was removed. And that was helpful for me.
And about that, like another, I think maybe an extension of that for us was Hellofresh, which was, there's lots of these box meal things, but HelloFresh we used for a season 2, maybe even up to a year we used it. And I often felt guilty because it felt expensive to me. Mm-hmm. It was, ultimately cheaper than going out to eat. And actually, if I would have done the math on it, it probably would have come out very similar to grocery shopping and then, making the meal. But, things were sometimes even a little prepped a little bit. They are prepped in a little bit, or they're at least organized. All the ingredients are there. So that took off my plate, even that part of meal planning for me. Because the whole mealtime experience, from like planning it to ordering or going to grocery shopping, all the way to the end with cleaning up the kitchen at the end of the meal, none of it is really my favorite. I'm just going to preface this by saying none of those things in there, any step of it, none of it's my favorite. And so I would love if there's any part of it that I could get off of my plate, I will do it. I mean, it is just, it's just so helpful, even just psychologically. So to have HelloFresh decide my meals for me, which was great. And I think we only did 2, but then we would maybe have leftovers per week. And then have the ingredients right there in the box. That's like two steps. Yeah. And that was awesome. And then it was exciting because we were trying new meals. So there was variety too. And then also, I don't know, just because it was HelloFresh or something, my kids were super excited about helping prepare it. And so, and here's another tip too. This is another thing that I did when my kids were younger. Making the meal was the afternoon activity. Like if we were making a meal for dinner, then we weren't doing a ton of other things. That was it. There was some playing around the house, but I just really had to give it the weight that it actually was taking on my life. I think because sometimes we think, well, we're going to do this elaborate meal, plus we're going to do 10 other things that day. And it's so much to put on your plate. So, so if we were going to do even HelloFresh, which is, there were lots of steps that were taken care of for me, but making the meal actually still took time and energy. So that had to be part of my afternoon.
And it's a new recipe.
And
new to you. And you have to follow all of the steps really closely.
Yes.
We've done HelloFresh and Green Chef and Blue Apron. We've done those all for a season. And I think they are very helpful because it takes a certain portion of the mealtime off your plate and it spices things up.
Right.
But then, it's also a different kind of work. And so it'll usually only last for a season for us too.
Yeah.
One thing as my kids are getting older is them doing the cooking. That makes one aspect of mealtime easier, which is like I'm not doing the cooking, but it also adds on managing kids doing the cooking.
Yes.
And so I think there's, like I said, it makes one aspect easier, but not the whole thing.
Yes.
So,
yes.
But it is important to me that my kids learn how to cook and that they, have some ownership in our family mealtime. And so that's really important. And so I make that work, but I don't want anybody to think that that just makes things real easy for me.
Yeah.
Because then also too, like they make a huge mess and then they're like, well, I don't have to do dishes. And that's true, Yeah. So, I mean, it is, it's a give and take. So,
yeah. And also, this is not something we even have talked about beforehand, Angela, but when my kids were younger, I think that in my mind, I would think my little kids should be eating what we're all eating. And I just think I needed to let go of that even more than I did, which I think I did, but still allowed myself to feel a little bit guilty about that. And now looking back, I wish I wouldn't feel guilty about just letting them eat very simply, a protein, a veggie. I mean, it's, it doesn't have to be really elaborate. Our kids' little tummies don't even need that much. And it's not they're not interested in an elaborate like chicken Parmesan meal, when they're so young. That's just, they don't really need that experience. If, always. I understand that. Like, I know there are people out there who are like, yes, but when they're young, if you give them all these things, and I agree with that, I think that is great. But also, if that's the thing that's stressing you out and it's like really hard for you to give them all these amazing, experiences and meal experiences and like trying all these new things, it's okay. And they can do that once in a while too. And then they can go back to their favorites and they can be healthy and very simple. I mean, oftentimes I would just get like, we would have deli meat, a cheese stick, grapes, 4 grapes. And it can be so simple and our kids can be so satisfied with that. So satisfied.
Yes. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
On the opposite end of that, like doing it all yourself is sometimes easier.
Yep.
For me. Especially now that I have kids who are cooking and helping. Sometimes if it's just like, you know what, it's just easier for me to do it all. I'm just going to be in charge. I'm taking off the management and, like stress of other people cooking. I'm just going to do it myself. Sometimes that makes it easier for you too.
Yep. There's also, every time I would go to Costco, and this is still today, I would say, especially Costco, I feel like has some good pre-made things. So, it's whether they make it there, they make a lot of things fresh right there at Costco, or they're frozen or whatever. I will often buy I don't go to Costco very often anymore. I usually just order, but if I do, I will pick up like 2 or 3 things that are like either already completely made, so I don't even have to do anything, or I just can stick it in the oven for 20 minutes or whatever, and it's ready for me. And there's just, that just feels, I just feel this pressure relieved that there are a few things in the freezer that I can just pull out. So I have a few favorite things at Costco.
That's great. We need to talk about what those are. Because Jeremy loves Costco. Costco, and he's always like, every time you go, like, let's get a new pre-made thing. Yeah. And I'm always like, but what? I haven't gone into Costco during the pandemic. Right. So it's hard for me to find that online. So if you have some favorites, I'd like to hear.
Well, okay. Do you want me to tell you now or later?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Well, I know you like the tacos.
I do.
The tacos, you told me about those.
We did for a long time. Now we're kind of done with those. But they were great for a season. Great. Yeah. Everything in a container. There's just, it's all fresh stuff. So, yep. Those, I think they're called street tacos, maybe. Last time I went into Costco, I picked up fresh made chicken salad and quinoa salad. And we just had that as a meal.
Okay.
And it was so good. So wonderful. So
that's awesome.
That's another thing. I know my kids really like the lasagna.
Oh, yeah. The frozen lasagna? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think getting pre-made stuff anywhere is not just Costco, but anywhere, like having a few things in your freezer ready to pull out is great. I'm not good at that because I forget that I need to also get a few of those things. Yeah. And I need to get, when I have things in my freezer, to pull out on a day that you don't know what to cook, that's great. And I think I used to feel guilty about that. Yeah. Or not guilty, but I used to like want to be better. I used to want to be like
me too,
cooking fresh things. And the older I get, I'm like, it's not necessary.
I know. When you think about it, when I really thought about that, because I've felt guilt for a long time about this. And I think about how on the weekends when we're all together with, when Sean's around too, he's like, oh, let's go do these great adventures together as a family. And I'm like, yeah, but what about when are we going to make dinner? And he's like, oh, we'll figure it out. It's never the top of his mind at all. And oftentimes we do end up getting takeout or something on the way home or something. And it's just okay with him.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And I just think not that we can get takeout. We can't get takeout every day. We just can't. But also I can let go of my expectations because we want to live life too here. We want to live life and, do the things we like to do. And I think for me, mealtime can happen around that. It
Yes.
needs to happen around that. For me, personally, it needs to happen around that. So
I think also some certain appliances can make life easier for you. Right
Yes.
now, we're like loving our air fryer.
yes.
Yeah. And we're cooking stuff easily in it. I know that was, some people feel that way about the Instant Pot or, other appliances, the crock pot.
Yeah.
And so sometimes those can make things easier for a season until you get tired of it, probably.
Yeah. Well, I've told you one of my favorite Patreon, oh my gosh. One of my favorite pandemic purchases was it's a toaster oven. That is also an air fryer.
Oh yeah.
We've never had a toaster oven before. And it was just, and it was actually like super cheap. One of the cheapest ones at Target. But it has been like such a lifesaver for us during this pandemic. I don't know. It just like brought a little new thing, exciting way to make something.
Yes.
And it was great. It helped our kids become independent, making a lot of things, especially my youngest. Has been able to make, just very simple things in the air fryer every day for lunch, chicken nuggets or, whatever. And that feels good to her and it feels really good to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to how each of us is making mealtime easier right now.
All right. Yeah. Do you want to start with yours?
I'll start with
Go
mine.
ahead.
Sure. Okay, so my big thing that I'm doing right now, and I've been doing this maybe a year, since the pandemic probably, is just lowering my expectations. Like lowering them lower than I thought. It is just
Explain
food.
that. What is that?
It's just food. We don't need to have anything fancy. Like
Okay.
it is just food. We don't need recipes. We don't need like something that everybody loves. This doesn't need to be like your favorite thing you've ever eaten.
Yeah.
This just needs to like do the job of feeding you. I think actually when I had an aha moment when we were in Costa Rica, because we were talking with somebody, a local, who was saying like in her culture, her family, like they ate rice and beans every day. It's what they ate every day.
Yeah.
What's for dinner? Rice and beans.
Yeah.
And then you added something else. Mangoes, chicken, plantains, whatever.
Sure.
And you just always ate rice and beans. It wasn't like here where we're like trying to come up with something different for every night of the week and like trying to make it exciting. It was just like they ate the same thing and they spiced it up a little bit. And I just was like, I need more of that. I need to do that.
Need that energy. Totally.
I need that energy.
Yeah.
We're just feeding people.
Yes.
It does not need to be exciting.
It doesn't have to be the center of this new exciting thing every day. And
right.
Yep.
So how I'm trying to do that are like, I'm not really doing meal planning right now, which in some seasons I do, and it's the thing that saves me.
Yep.
But right now I'm not. I'm just saving it to the last minute. And so how that works for me is sometimes I ask a kid to do it, and like whatever they do, I'm fine with.
Yep.
So they might do chicken nuggets and fries, and that's fine. We pull out some baby carrots and we're good to go. And I have to let go of like that this needs to be like this amazing meal, right?
Isn't it interesting that like fresh carrots on the table? Because I do that a lot. Fresh carrots, fresh peppers. We do peppers a lot. Or cut up cucumbers. I just think that is a staple on our counter like all day. Sometimes it's just out all day. And I used to feel bad that was the only veggie, that they were getting for dinner. And now I just think I am so amazing. My kids are eating veggies like rock stars. And, just because they're fresh and not, in a different form. I do not care anymore.
Right. And
all.
You shouldn't.
No.
Yeah. Another thing I'm doing is because it's getting to be warmer out, we're using the grill. So like if I think I had like a couple hours, I can take out whatever meat, throw it in a marinade or not,
or not. Salt and pepper is
and
great
then
too.
and then what goes with that? I don't know. Whatever fruit and veggies in your fridge.
Yes.
Maybe you make some rice and you're done. And so, like, does this need to be the best chicken you've ever eaten? No, it doesn't.
This is the point of the podcast where some people are like, I thought I was going to get some exciting ideas, and you're telling me to make meat and veggies because that's one of mine too. You're like,
all right,
thanks.
why don't you tell us?
No, well, my go-to meal, and I do this, I mean, I have two that are the most boring, but also the easiest. So if we ever make bacon, if we ever make bacon, and we make bacon in the oven in the morning, like usually, well, I shouldn't say that, maybe once every other week, maybe once a week.
Yeah.
But we have a pan of bacon grease, right?
Yeah.
So all I do is chop whatever veggies are in my fridge, put them in there, maybe put some, also cut up some sausages, put them in there, or chicken.
When you say in there, are you talking like on a tray?
On the tray, yes.
A tray that goes in the oven.
Yes, that we just cooked our bacon in the morning, and it's still sitting out.
Yeah.
By the afternoon, it's still sitting on our stove, right? So I just chop some veggies and put them on the tray, on the pan, cut up some meat, sausages or chicken or whatever, put that in there and cook it with some, salt and pepper.
Actually, that's a really good meal. I like that.
Anything in bacon fat is
One tray.
Really amazing.
One tray.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it with other oils too. It's especially good. It's like a great hack when you have bacon fat around.
Yes. I like that. Okay. I know. I feel like you're right. This is the point of the podcast where people are like, I thought I was going to get some great ideas. I hope what I'm doing is showing you that you can lower your standards.
I think that is the actual message we want to share here.
Yeah.
It's not about the amazing meal plans that we have.
Or recipes.
Or recipes.
Not about recipes. Mm-hmm. Although I do like a good recipe, and I've shared a good recipes before. But
and we can share those. That's great too.
Yeah. The other thing that we are really on a kick of right now is fries in the air fryer. So like we buy they're Alexia frozen fries.
Oh, okay.
You know, and we just get them unshipped. I get like 3 packs a week.
I've never heard of these.
Maren, these are better fries than at any drive-thru.
No.
They are. Yeah, they are.
What?
Yeah, they are. They are better if you so you put them in the air fryer, no oil, and you just do like salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and then we just like put them in our homemade Chick-fil-A sauce, which is really just like mayo and Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce.
So great.
And we just eat those, and then just like add a veggie and maybe like, I don't know, a hot dog. Just something like a little bit more substantial, so you're not just eating fries.
Yes.
But everybody loves that. They love those. So like that can be like where I start. I'm gonna make the fries. What else could I pull out?
Sure.
To go with us. And then my other I shared this on Patreon like a couple of months ago, and I've been feeling awkward about it ever since. And then here I am going to share it here now. So, so like the other like favorite thing that we do is just, we don't know what to make. And so then we like look in the fridge and just pull out random things. Okay. So like,
yes.
You have 3 yogurts, pull them out. Pull out the 3 yogurts. You have some hummus, pull that out. Oh, you know what? I have a half a bag of crackers. Gonna pull that out too.
Yeah. Like this little box, this little container of like chicken that nobody ate, and it's not enough for the whole family.
Pull it out.
Yep.
Pull it out. Yeah, cheese. I'm gonna slice up some cheese. I'm gonna put jelly in a little bowl.
Wow.
Any fruit or vegetables that are raw, you could just pull those out. Put some chips on there, like, and then if I'm really fancy, like you put it on a wooden tray, and you just call it a charcuterie board.
We've been making so many charcuterie boards starting at the pandemic. My 10-year-old started it because she wanted to cut up things.
So great.
Yeah.
And for some reason, everybody's like so excited. They're so excited because it's like you can pick from those things what you want to eat. I don't know. I think that's what it is.
There's some choice.
It's the choice.
Yep.
And then if like I don't have a lot, or if I feel like I need something more, I always have a can of tuna or 2 laying around, and then I just like mix it up with mayo and I put that there. So like you could dip, have that with crackers or chips or something. Sometimes I need to add a little more heft because I do have teenagers, and
Yes.
So we do that. Usually though, we have leftovers because it's like like the charcuterie board grows, because you're like, oh, I have a like a fourth a bag of nuts left that nobody was eating, or like you're just, this is your way to get rid of things that you are just sitting around and maybe going to go bad soon. So
brilliant. Maybe not what everybody came for, but I think it's just like better than what you thought you needed, everybody. This is better. I do. Yeah. I really think it is, because this is our reality.
Yeah.
This is what we're really doing. And I think it's great. Really doing. I think it's great.
And then sometimes, like, to just, is it a piggyback? I don't know. Like, related to the cousin of this would be like, I just call it toddler plates, because it's what I used to do when my kids were toddlers, where I like actually fix the plate for them. Mm-hmm. Like, if I really need to get rid of these certain fruits and veggies, I'll just be like, here's some tuna and mayo with a few crackers and your couple of fruits and veggies. Yeah. Here, everybody take some. This is what you're eating. Like, everybody gets the same one. And because I don't do it that often, they're like, okay. They're like, sure. And then if they're, if they're still hungry, they can fix themselves something later.
Right. Yes. That's so good.
So, all right, Maren, how are you making mealtime easier?
Well, okay. And I know this is going to go against what so many people think. And you kind of alluded to this, but I think what the message that I've gotten from most people who do this well, meal prepping and making and everything, is to get really good plans. My MO is do not plan. I just don't like it. I've never liked meal planning. It's just who I am. I've realized I need to accept this about myself. Mm-hmm. I've tried meal planning so many times, and it only stresses me out. Yeah. It just does. When I plan things, it stresses me out, because I think this isn't going to happen anyway. We already think plans change, and all my work is going to go to waste, or, I don't know. And I know that's not actually, I know that things can get moved around. It's really fine, but I'm just better at not planning.
Yeah. That's great.
I'm really good at ordering food. Now I order food on Shipt and Instacart. And I'm really good at ordering universal things that would go with anything, like things that just would work together. And that's where I'm at right now. So that wherever we're at, busyness wise, and just where we're at, where we feel like what we feel like eating tonight, it just works better for all of us. And I mean, I think that's just me. And maybe
I think it's a lot of people. I think people are going to resonate with that.
Yes. But it is not the message that really good meal planners share. So I'm just saying, if you're never living up to like the person you're following on Instagram who does this well, I think it's okay, because you got to just celebrate where you're at and just like really rock that not planning mode.
For sure. You are a P on the Myers-Briggs.
Yes.
And so you don't do well with planning.
No. I, as a parent, have to do so much planning anyway that I don't want to do. I'm already doing so much.
Yeah.
I'm beyond what I would like to be doing for planning. Just because I'm managing five other people besides myself. So I've let this go. And especially maybe it might just because of the season where we're at. We aren't in a bunch of sports. We're not, doing a ton of things in the evenings. I don't really have to plan right now either. And so I do want to put that out there. I'm sure there's going to be a time where I need to do this, but I'm basking in the time right now that I don't have to.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Also, I did talk about my one pan, veggies and meat.
Yes. Yeah.
Hack. The other one that I might do once a week also is an Instant Pot. Instant Pot. I just cook rice and chicken all together in the Instant Pot. And then while that's cooking, sometime in there, I'll start stir frying some veggies. And then when the Instant Pot's done, I'll take the chicken out. It's completely, fall apart chicken now. And I always think about you when I get my chicken. I do not get chicken breast anymore. I get chicken thighs.
Yeah.
Boneless chicken thighs.
Yeah.
Because they're tastier.
Yeah.
For me. And so then I just pull that chicken apart, put it in with the veggies on the stove, and then throw some marinade or oil, salt and pepper on there. And then we have rice and chicken and veggies. Stir fry.
Okay, so I need to ask. You're putting raw chicken with uncooked rice together in an Instapot.
Yes.
Are you adding? Did you find a recipe for that, or you just tried it?
I just tried it.
once?
No, I think I mean, I've seen people do that, so I did it.
You have. Okay. And do you use as much water as you would use without the chicken, like with the rice, or are you adding more water?
I don't add more water now. Mm-mm.
Oh.
Mm-mm. Nope. It turns
So
out great.
Do you put any seasonings in there?
I don't normally. I mean, you can for sure, but I do season the pan when I'm sauteing the veggies, and then I put the chicken in. Then I put salt and pepper in there, or whatever, garlic.
That's so great. That's so great.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
so
do that.
easy. It is really, really easy, and you can put the chicken and rice in anytime. You can start it in the morning or whatever, or the afternoon or whatever, and then it only takes 20 minutes.
Yeah,
you can put in frozen chicken too. You can put in frozen chicken.
Okay. Can you put the chicken on the stand?
Nope. I just put rice.
You just put it right in there.
Put rice in, then the water, and then I throw the chicken on top. Wow. I know.
That's a great hack.
Let's just think about
I
that.
bet you could do that without chicken too. I bet it could be like beef or pork or something.
Totally.
But you can do it with any meat.
Totally. Yes.
Wow.
Yep. So that is like so easy. It's just, it's my go-to. And I was going to also just say my kids make their own breakfast and lunch pretty much for the most part.
Yeah.
And so, and that also, I think I'm just going to use this as a strength. I'm going to, talk about my non-planning as a strength, that I'm able to order things that work most of the time for our family. And so my kids do have what they need or sometimes want for breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
I'm good at like providing lots of stuff that will work for everybody. So
yeah, that's great.
And then also we get Imperfect Foods too, which is, it's mostly veggie delivery, veggies, fruit. And now I also get meat from them too. And some snacky things too. And so that's just another part of our, universal ordering that just we make it work.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Another thing that I think I'm letting go of is getting a few things that aren't like completely whole foods for my kids. Like we do a lot of fruits and veggies and eggs and things that are just really whole foods. But also, my kids are at this age, they're 14, 12, and 10. They're independent, and as they get older, they want and need to be more independent, and yet they're still kids. So they aren't going to make an elaborate meal for themselves and make good decisions for, their health and stuff all the time. And I'm learning to let go and let them buy things that are easy for them to make, like mac and cheese, hot dogs, things like that, canned soup, like things like that I would like 5 years ago, I'd be like, no, I'm not getting canned soup. I'm getting canned tomato soup because my daughter loves making grilled cheese and tomato soup. And I'm like, there's this fine balance, and it's different for everyone. So I'm not saying you all have to go out and buy canned soup for your kids, but whatever works for you, like it's okay. There's no shame and no guilt in what you're, providing for your family.
For sure.
That works for you.
So great.
Yeah. We've talked about how I'm getting these, the pho for my kids or, ramen sometimes, just things that they're like, my kids are growing so fast and eat a lot. And, I can't just, I'm not going to be making tons of meals all day. I'm just not going to do that. So,
Right. Yep. That's good.
I really want to make it easy for them. not easy, but like doable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I think we should move on to the next thing here,
which is just having our patrons share about what's working for them. We'll start with Sally. Sally, I loved your comment here. Sally says she has a few things that she does. Number one, I ask my kids, ages 9, 9, and 5, to suggest one dinner per week. Even if they all want the same thing, it's one less decision I have to make.
great.
That seems simple, but I don't do that. So that's a good one.
Yes, I like that
and
too.
then I love her number 2. I'm gonna implement this tonight. She says, I have a fallback plan for dinner each day of the week if I'm not feeling inspired. Pasta on Mondays, taco Tuesday, breakfast for dinner on Wednesday, takeout or leftovers on Thursday, and frozen pizza Friday. I always make sure I'm stocked up on ingredients for my fallback dinners in case I need them.
That is brilliant. Some of those seem like first plan for me.
Well, I think she also said in a different comment, like some weeks it's just the fallback plan all week.
I wouldn't blame you.
But I really like that idea. So, because I feel like I have a couple of fallback ideas, but sometimes I have the stuff, sometimes I don't. And sometimes I forget a good fallback idea. So I need to just like write that down and put it like somewhere I can see it.
Okay. I also loved from Aaron. I really loved this idea. For me and my busy house of teens, weekly meal planning has been a game changer. My recipes for the week are sitting on a cookbook holder on the counter, along with a Post-it note that says what dinner will be for each day and what time I plan to have dinner ready for each day. It reduces decisions that need to be made at the end of the day when I'm exhausted, and it allows my kids to check the Post-it note and see how my dinner plan fits with their evening schedule. If they know dinner won't be ready before they need to leave for practice, they can snack accordingly. Also, it has reduced stress for one of my teens who's on the picky side. He can see ahead of time if he should plan on making his own meal instead of showing up to the dinner table to be surprised to see something he doesn't like. I think this is really brilliant. I feel this is, and it sounds like you have a busy family too, where there are practices at night and things that you need to get to. So this would be what I would want to do. If I have to do that planning, this is what I would want to do. So that's really, really smart.
I like that she's letting her kids know ahead of time what's happening so that they can like then take the initiative to figure things out for themselves if it's not going to work for them.
I know.
That's really important.
That's just really great.
I really like that. Okay, from Hannah. My biggest thing has been making lunch ahead. We get a bunch of little Tupperware tubs, and I decide once what lunch is for the week. Our go-to is pasta salad, hummus, carrot sticks, and a little cookie treat. And I'll make enough for all of us for the next 4 days. Our entire middle shelf of the fridge is lunch Tupperware. But when the kids suddenly decide they're ravenous, it's glorious to just tell them to go grab a lunch from the fridge. Plus, it's easy to clean up because I only prep once.
Oh, that is really, really brilliant.
That's amazing because I think sometimes we can think like lunch should be easy, like it's not dinner. It should be easy, but it's still a lot of decision making and cleanup and so I think this takes away that. So good job, Hannah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. From Amanda. When I am inspired, I cook for myself and my husband and stop caring about what the kids think. I don't feel bad anymore about things out of cans and salads and bags. Also, I don't feel bad about takeout either. I spent a lot of time feeling guilty about these things in the past, but now I realize with 4 kids under 10 that this is just a season and I can't do everything perfect right now. So I'm going to ditch the guilt and feel grateful for these cheats instead. I hope this can help some others too. And I would say, I don't think those are cheats. Let's just...
Yeah, I think it's okay if this lasts longer than the season.
Yeah, I mean, but I really do understand 4 kids under 10. I've been there. I get that. And yeah.
Yay for not feeling guilty and making yourself feel guilty. That's so great. Okay, Sarah. I love this thread because this was a Facebook thread in our Facebook group. I found out I was pregnant just days after everything shut down March 2020 and had our baby in November. I've tried to allow myself every shortcut possible while still mostly serving my family 3 meals and 2 snacks a day. We get takeout once a week, but I've cut corners wherever I can. We get Whole Foods Amazon Prime delivery, and I go to Trader Joe's once a month and stock up on their amazing freezer meals. I used to reserve packaged snacks for when we're out and about, but now we're home all the time. I try to have plenty of fun, easy prepackaged snacks for home too.
Yes.
And I think you were telling me ahead of time, Maren, about how like you had some things like just for when you traveled.
Yes.
Or like when you were out and about.
Yep.
And now you're just doing those things at home.
Yep. Yeah.
And
totally.
that's okay. So I think that's what Sarah's talking about too. Like you don't need to be traveling or you don't need to be out and about to do these things. You can allow yourself them at home.
Yeah. I grew up with this mentality that like we don't buy those prepackaged things. Like we're just not buying those prepackaged. And so that's been like ingrained in my head for so long. But while we traveled, I was like, I think this is my cheat. Well, you know, in quotation marks, my cheat is like buying these packaged things to make it easier for traveling. And now I'm like, we're still going through so much, you know, in our pandemic and stuff. And like I said, our kids are just needing their own independence. It's okay to have those things at home.
It's okay.
I'm learning.
Yes.
All right.
It's okay.
From Allison, usually by lunch, I'm ready to clock out. So I just chop up a bunch of fruits and veggies and maybe slice some cheese quesadillas or other handheld items and put them all on a big cutting board on the table. No dishes, no questions, no options, no fussing.
This one wins my favorite comment.
Winner. Allison, you are our model patron episode right now. This is perfect for this episode.
This is what I'm like striving for. So thank you for putting it into words. And I think you even made it even simpler than what I said. I like that you said I'm ready to clock out by lunch because aren't we all?
Yeah.
Like we're all just ready to clock out. Like dinner comes at the worst time when you're so tired.
I know.
Oh, that's so good.
It's so true. And especially when my kids were younger and they were getting up earlier, by lunchtime I was like, I've already been done for an hour. Like now I have to make lunch and clean it up. So that's where I'm like, simplify.
Yes.
Get the, whatever, protein?
Yeah.
Whatever
get some fruits and veggies.
Get some fruits and veggies and like you're good. You're so good.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for sharing. There were so many ideas that everybody shared and we had a lot that we were going to share, but we cut them down because we had to. So if you are interested in seeing everybody's ideas, they are in the Facebook group. If you are a member of our Patreon community, you can go there.
All right.
All right. So next we have our listener question. Our listener question this week comes from Alexon. Maybe I missed the episode, but I'm super curious about how Maren and her family planned their traveling year. That is my dream.
Well, you didn't
thank
miss
you for asking.
Yeah, you didn't miss an episode, Alexon. We haven't talked about it on our podcast here, and I really haven't talked about it much on Patreon either, but I really want to. So thank you for bringing this up. We are going to talk about this on Patreon. So
this week.
Yeah. Yep. So if you are a member of Patreon right now, you can go right to and listen to that in your podcast app.
All right. Let's move on to our loving this week's.
All right. Angela, what are you loving this week?
Okay. I'm loving a podcast that I have loved in the past, but it has risen to the top for me in the past month. It's called Still Processing. It's a New York Times podcast. With hosts Wesley Morris and Jenna Wortham. They are processing, as the title suggests, through lots of cultural topics, right? So they were on break, and then while they were on break for the last, I'm just going to say December, January, maybe it was January, February, they put out their best of episodes. So they had 4 really good episodes in those months. And I appreciated that because I haven't listened to them since the beginning. And so I was able to hear their best episodes. And then they just started up their new season. And they've had a couple episodes since they started up. One is called The N-Word, which was great. They processed through all about the N-Word. They're both hosts are Black. And then they just had a really great episode about, and Maren, I was going to ask if you'd listen to this, but I don't know if you have yet. You should listen. It is about bridges in songs. It's about
I'm interested.
Through the Lens of Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It is so good. I've listened twice. I listened with my kids. It's so well done. They start out by talking about the song Driver's License.
Yeah.
And then they move into a conversation about like how the bridge in a song has evolved over the years and how it's kind of disappearing a little bit or kind of coming back in a new form. It was super interesting. Super interesting. I loved it so much.
I will obviously be running to that episode as soon as we get done with this recording. That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah. So I love their whole podcast, and I think you guys should listen. So
okay. Yep.
Maren, what are you loving?
Okay. I'm loving a pillow that actually I've had for a really long time. I'm not going to say a really long time. 9 months, maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. It's called Pluto, Pluto, Pluto pillow.
Okay.
And it's interesting because, I am not trying to be a pillow connoisseur, but I have become a pillow connoisseur just because I have neck issues. I was in a little bit of a car accident. It really wasn't a big deal, but it really messed up my neck like 5 or 6 years ago. Gosh, it was so long ago now. But since then, I have been on the lookout, and I think it's taken me this long to find a great pillow. And I think this is it for now. And I know it's not. I'm not going to say it's perfect. I don't know if there is a perfect pillow, but this has come the closest to supporting my neck the way I want it to every night when I sleep.
Okay.
I think the special thing about this pillow is that it's customized to you. So like no pillow is the same. You go through a series of questions. They ask you questions about how you sleep, what you like, what you've done in the past, your height, your weight, your age, lots of detailed questions about what you need in a pillow. And then they make it just for you. And it also comes with a 100-night risk-free trial, which I've learned now when I buy pillows, that's just kind of a non-negotiable. It has to be returnable.
Yeah.
Because there are so many that just don't work for me. So it felt like a really safe move for me to try this, even though it was expensive. But it's really been the best pillow so far.
Are you a side sleeper or back or?
I'm a side sleeper. Yes.
You're a side sleeper.
Yes.
Okay. But I'm imagining that they will make any pillow for you.
Yes.
For any
they
kind of sleeper.
ask you that too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And what kind of filling you like and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for being with us this week and listening. You can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. We'd love to see you there. We also have a website, homeschoolunrefined.com, where you can find links to everything that we talked about in our show notes. And we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Homeschool Unrefined is created and produced by Maren Gorse and Angela Sizer. Amanda Ginn is our content and marketing strategist. This podcast is listener supported. Join our growing community at patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined.
We donate 10% of all Patreon income and product sales to The Conscious Kid, a Black and Brown-led organization that has been instrumental in our own evolution and in leading the way in both ideological and tangible change with their work in parenting and education through a critical race lens.
No matter how you homeschool, you are exactly who your kids need. You're doing great.